Hey everybody, this is Marley K. Hope you all are well. I have some news you can use, hopefully to prepare. It's not to cause fear. It is just another nudge to get you to be about your business and preparing for what's coming. So this story is from Bitcoin.com. It was published 15 hours ago. And the title of it says, Former Treasury official warns of complete economic implosion if US dollar loses global currency status. Former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs for the US Department of Treasury, Monica Crowley, has warned of catastrophic consequences if the US dollar loses its status as the world's reserve currency. That would mean the end of the US dollar, she said, predicting that there would be a complete implosion of the global economic system. Crowley warns of catastrophic consequences if the US dollar loses global reserve currency status. Notice all these things are converging at the same time. It's planned, it's orchestrated, and so we just have to see what's coming, understand what's coming. We can't control it, but let's try to do what we can to control the things within our realm. Monica Crowley, former Assistant Secretary for the Public Affairs of the U.S. Department of the Treasury, explained on Fox News Saturday what would happen if emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan, and the U.S. dollar is no longer the world's dominant currency. She stressed, it's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the US dollar would be as the world's global reserve currency. Crowley explained that since the end of World War II, the dollar has been considered a safe haven. Initially, it was backed by gold, but after low down, dirty back President Nixon took the US off the gold standard, there has been no hard set backing the dollar for the last 50 years. Instead, it has been backed by the strength and economic power of the US, she said. Basically, fairy tales and lies, and us keeping it strong because nothing else, was backing it. The former Treasury official added that another important factor is the fact that oil has always been traded in dollars, warning, if that were to end, that would mean the end of the US dollar, emphasizing that the US dollar having the world's reserve currency status has been a real privilege, she expressed. We've abused the privilege by wholly reckless monetary and fiscal policy for so many years, certainly over the last couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. Crowley continued, on top of that, now you do have this perfect storm of Biden's weakness, his war on American domestic energy production, and the Ukraine war. Because of all of these things, we've got America's enemies, led by China, forming a new economic bloc. The former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs added that since we are at a pivotal moment, all it would take at this point is for Saudi Arabia, who has indicated that they are open to this, to say, you know what? We're going to be open to considering other currencies to trade in oil, Crowley warned. If that were to happen, there would be a complete implosion of the global economic system, but certainly the American economic system. And if that were to happen, you'd be looking at sky high inflation just raging, Weimar Republic kind of inflation. If you think inflation is bad now, just wait. But more importantly, we would lose our economic dominance and we would lose our superpower status, she noted. I don't care nothing about no superpower status. I need eggs to go down. I need rice to go down. I need to be able to buy some kind of meat without it being so outrageous, if that's what I choose. Um, Everything is just more expensive. Underwear, socks, I mean, you name it. Everything is just unnecessarily expensive, but it's because we've been sold out. So, I don't care nothing about no superpower label. We're superpower right now and we're struggling. So, what difference does it make if we have the label and have the power so we can bully other people? It's like people tired of us, people tired of America. They're like nuck if you buck, you know. So let me read you another story. Not that one. This one. Uh, De-dollarization. More countries seek alternatives to the US dollar. So this article came out on March the 26th, and it is on Elements in a section called Real Assets. So at the beginning, it's really cool. So it has like a little timeline of the timeline of dollar dominance. So I'm going to put this in the description so that you can see it. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where it says de-dollarization, more countries seek alternatives to the US dollar. The US dollar has dominated global trade and capital flows over many decades. However, many nations are looking for alternatives to the greenback to reduce their dependence on the United States. The graphic catalogs the rise of the US dollar as the dominant international reserve currency and the recent efforts by various nations to de-dollarize and reduce their dependence on the US financial system. The dollar dominance. The United States became almost overnight the leading financial power after World War I. The country entered the war only in 1917 and emerged far stronger than its European counterparts. As a result, the dollar began to displace the pound sterling as the international reserve currency, and the US also became a significant recipient of wartime gold inflows. The dollar then gained a greater role in 1944 when 44 countries signed the Bretton Woods Agreement, creating a collective international currency exchange regime pegged to the US dollar, which was in turn pegged to the price of gold. By the 1960s, European and Japanese exports became more competitive with US exports. There was a large supply of dollars around the world, making it difficult to back dollars with gold. President Nixon ceased the direct convertibility of US dollars to gold in 1971. This ended both the gold standard and the limit on the amount of currency that could be printed. Although it remained the international reserve currency, the US dollar has increasingly lost its purchasing power since then. And so this is the real tea coming up. Russia and China's steps towards de-dollarization. Concerned about America's dominance over the global financial system and the country's ability to weaponize it, other nations have been testing alternatives to reduce the dollar's hegemony. As the United States and other Western nations imposed economic sanctions against Russia in response to the invasion of Ukraine, Moscow and Chinese government have been teaming up to reduce reliance on the dollar and to establish cooperation between the financial systems. Since the invasion of 2022, the ruble yuan trade has increased 80-fold. Russia and Iran are working together to launch a cryptocurrency backed by gold, according to Russian news agency Vedmosti. In addition, central banks, especially Russia's and China's, have bought gold at the fastest pace since 1967 as countries move to diversify their reserves away from the dollar. How other countries are reducing dollar dependence. De-dollarization, it's a theme in other parts of the world. In recent months, Brazil and Argentina have discussed the creation of a common currency for the two largest economies in South America. In conference in Singapore in January, Multiple former Southeast Asian officials spoke about de-dollarization efforts underway. The UAE and India are in talks to use rupees to trade non oil commodities in a shift away from the dollar, according to Reuters. For the first time in 48 years, Saudi Arabia said that the oil rich nation is open to trading in currencies besides the US dollar. Despite these movements, few expect to see the end of the dollar's global sovereign status anytime soon. Currently, central banks still hold about 60% of their foreign exchange reserves in dollars. So this just means they're going to hurry up and dump that mess, and then we're going to be screwed. So for us as citizens, we can't be caught off guard and unaware. So understanding that these people control the dollar, the value of the dollar. We don't, they do. Then you need to, prioritize and set yourself up in a way that you can be protected in the event, the dollar loses its value. We go into this global collapse as this new transition, this new order comes about. And people who aren't prepared are going to be out in the streets. You're not going to want to be out in the streets. People are going to be angry. You're not going to want to be out where people are going to be angry, and you're going to want to be at home and be able to protect yourself. So you want to have some things around your home to protect yourself in the event that people decide, well, I didn't prepare, I didn't pay attention, so I'm gonna come get your stuff. I ain't seen you. So you just need to be aware. The last story I want to share with you is India and China plan to trade in their own currency and cut the US dollar dominance. So this came out yesterday. Asian economic giants China and India have launched separate programs in an attempt to reduce the dominance of the US dollar in international transactions and allow them to settle business in their own currencies. The strengthening and scarcity of the dollar has sent shock waves in global foreign exchange markets, leading to a surge in inflation and interest rates. The Federal Reserve Bank of the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, last week approved central banks from 18 countries, including Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, to open special Vostro Rupee accounts, SVRAs, that will allow them to settle payments in Indian rupees as part of a massive move to de-dollarize trade. And so that's what the Kenyan president was talking about the other day when he was, telling his people, y'all better dump them dollars because things are going to get ready to change. So this is tied to that story. Data from the East Africa Trade and Investment Report 2020 shows that EAC's exports to India stood at $978.6 million and those to China at $422.6 million. Moscow in tow, India's SRVA's process began in 2022 after the RBI announced that it had decided to put in place an additional arrangement for invoicing, payment, and settlement of exports/imports in Indian rupees. Russia has also been vocal in using the Indian rupee for trade and for de-dollarization. Moscow, in response to sanctions imposed to it by the West for invading Ukraine, also started asking Western countries to pay in the ruble. Other countries approved by RBI to open SRVAs include Botswana, Fiji, Germany, Guyana, Israel, Malaysia, Mauritius, Myanmar, New Zealand, Oman, Russia, Seychelles, Singapore, Sri Lanka, and the UK. Indian Union Minister of State for Finance, I'm going to butcher this name, Bhagwat Kishanro, Karad said that 60 such approvals have been given by the RBI. So, under the arrangement, when an Indian importer makes a payment to a foreign trader in rupees, the amount gets credited to the Vastro account. Similarly, when an Indian exporter needs to be paid for his goods and services in rupees, money will be deducted from this account. It will then be credited to the exporter's regular account. So, I just wanted to share this story because again, it just shows how all these countries are moving away from the dollar. At the end of the day, that will hurt the average American consumer who is not paying attention. They're on TikTok, they're doing Candy Crush, they are watching trash TV, they are living in their own worlds, trying to ignore reality. But when this thing collapses, it is going to happen suddenly, and people are not going to be ready. They're going to be caught unaware because they were not watching. So, with that said, if you see the signs, you're paying attention to what is happening, get what you can while it's still really reasonable. Get what you can while your money is worth something. Get tangible things that you can use when the stores aren't open, when groceries and necessities are so expensive that you can't afford them. Get bottled water and things like that in case you can't pay your water bill. um, we have to act like we're going back to the 1800s, where you only got sunlight and moonlight. You only got food that you can grow with your hands or whatever you got in your house. You got to figure out how to navigate these times because it's getting ready to get rough. And I'm speaking for the average person. If you have money, if you got means to flee, if I'm not really talking to you because you're just a different type of person. Not saying that this information isn't relevant for you, but I know the majority of African American people are poor. They don't have a lot of money. They live in paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are helping taking care of family members, or everybody's just life is happening. We've been a historically oppressed people. We haven't had an opportunity to amass wealth, and so for us, it's going to hit us extremely hard. We don't have land. We don't have a bunch of money in the bank. A lot of us don't have savings. We don't have retirement accounts. We just don't, just because of how things are set up structurally. And we just got to do what we got to do to survive. So there ain't no shame in nobody's game. You got to do what you got to do within your own power. Pray about it and ask the Most High for guidance. But faith without some work is dead. You're gonna have to do some work to navigate what we're getting ready to go through. And a lot of people are talking about, a lot of old people I know around here where I live at, they haven't planted gardens for years, but they see the writing on the wall and they're out getting outside planting gardens. um, People are starting to wake up, but not enough and not fast enough. So again, you do what you can do. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear to navigate what's coming, try to, keep sharing with people and waking people up, but don't stress too much, because at the end of the day, adults got access to the same information that we have access to, and they just choose not to be engaged in that type of information. So, with that said, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Also, subscribe to Rumble and Odyssey in the event this channel is taken down. And again, try to stay on top of all these different stories that are coming out. A lot of things are getting ready to happen. And between war and the aliens coming, and the climate agenda, the sustainable development, supply chain issues, natural and man-made disasters, and then this economic collapse. That's not even talking about what is going to happen after things fall apart. The human aspect of it, people gonna be out here acting crazy, wilding in the streets, want to steal, want to fight, want to kill. Um, this is America, and it is what it is. So if you know better, you do better. Knowing is half the battle, and so consider yourself, forewarned so that you can be prepared for what's coming. All right, please like this video, share it again, and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of information. I'm going to try to keep y'all up on what's happening. I got a couple of other stories that I'm going to share with you later, but this one is really important because we don't know when this thing is going to collapse. Right now they're trying to kill cryptocurrency because our economic systems continues to want to be the dominant superpower. I don't know how that's going to work because it seems like other countries are gravitating towards it. So I just don't know. What I can tell you is be careful. Have something tangible that you could put in your hand and use, but don't be running around here talking about you getting ready to buy up all this gold and silver. Have some for just in case, but you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. And if push comes to shove, you may not even be able to trade gold and silver because people may not want it. People may not trust that your gold is real gold. They may not trust your silver is real silver if you're trying to barter for tangible, life-saving necessities from neighbors and friends, family members. So get things that are tangible. Get some deodorant, get some canned goods, you know, um, get teas and medications to take care of yourself if you fall ill. Get you, laundry detergent and buckets to haul water and do, wash clothes. There's all kinds of things that you could be buying. If you have money sitting around, use that money to buy things that are tangible, because when our money is worthless, or when that inflation hits and we're not hardly able to buy anything with our money, it's going to be real painful. So use your money and your time wisely. All right, y'all. I am out.